Every circus needs a ringmaster, and throughout the entirety of Brexit, John Bercow has been there to crack the whip. His extraordinary intonation, the way in which he says the word, order, to shut MPs up when they're all shouting at each other, the way in which much of the UK has become transfixed by a parliament it usually ignores, all of it combined to make Bercow something of an international celebrity. Given that the role of Speaker is to set the terms of debate and act as referee inside the chamber, trying to keep on top of politicians during Brexit would have proved virtually impossible for anybody.
We've seen both the opposition but also the government try and use parliamentary procedure to their advantage, which has meant that in certain situations the Speaker, Bercow in this situation, has been put in a tricky position and has had to make quite controversial decisions.
He may have been a Conservative MP, but Bercow gathered many enemies on the pro-Brexit benches of Parliament. They accused him of being biased against them because he ruled that the government couldn't keep trying to pass Brexit legislation after losing votes on it.
My ruling is therefore that the motion will not be debated today, as it would be repetitive and disorderly.
But in reality, he was only obeying the rules. It's just that Brexit has become so disorderly itself that any decisions he took were bound to be divisive.
He was the person who facilitated this referendum process from the outset by allowing some of the Eurosceptics to table an amendment, which was unusual, and to allow it to be voted on. So I think he's represented both camps. His role is not to stand up for the government. His role is to stand up for backbenchers, and I hope he'll continue to do that.
Bercow was never afraid of making enemies or speaking his mind, most famously arguing that President Trump should be barred from speaking to Parliament during his state visit earlier this year.
After the imposition of the migrant ban by President Trump, I am even more strongly opposed to an address by President Trump in Westminster Hall.
Bercow's successor will be announced in a few days. They'll be forgiven for hoping they might live through slightly less interesting times. Lawrence Lee, Aljazeera, London.